Hey, welcome into this edition of the GASOCast, episode 13. Thanks for being with us. Playoff time, fellas. It is a good time to be a fan of basketball in the state of Texas right now. As for some house cleaning, Cup of Hoops dropping later this week. Recruiting Simplified newsletter dropped this morning. Very underclassmen aimed. Acting Bad broadcast. Is that happening this week, Mike?
I'm taking a week off, preparing for playoffs. I'm already regretting. I'm already regretting it because yesterday was all day in high school basketball around the state. So you never know.
But I'm with you. It was like kind of quiet Monday and Tuesday, and then last night just an influx of all this great information. I had to do more work on the 1,000-point scorers and all that stuff this morning than I did yesterday. GASO Fast Break. Join us. 2026 rankings are coming soon. We'll give you a little preview of that later.
25 just came out as well. So that's where you're going to go to get all that stuff.
And then the final 24 rankings coming out in a few weeks as well. Team rankings will be dropping. And I guess
the final one.
The final one. And it's like we're on here. Now it's the ball goes out. Let's see who's really got it here. We are doing our free playoff bracket on our app, so download the Great American Shootout app. That can help you keep track of where the games are. And like I said, we're going to do our best. Whatever information we find on Twitter, we will put into the app so you can have that and follow along. It is free.
Next Gen Showcase, March 3rd. That's going to be our first official GASO event of the year in Duncanville, Texas. 26s, 27s, 28s. Have some big names there. So if you're going to be a part of that event, you're going to be on the court with some really, really good players. And then King of the Court is our first official team event, March 15th through 17th. Is going to be here quicker than ever. So where else do you want to play besides in front of dudes that know you and are evaluating you? And the GASO, you're not going to get a better product.
And me and Blue were actually talking about this yesterday. We flow. We don't go into the event with a narrative. We flow with what's actually happening at the event. And we want to publicize those kids who are making noise and those teams that are making noise. And that's how we want to do it. Just you tell the story, and we'll be there to write it. Make sure you're following us, okay? We're going to playoff games. I don't know if I might be live streaming like 3 of them. Playing games around the state, I'm waiting to hear for some of those. Maybe live streaming those as well. I love this time of year because it feels like March Madness. Like I'm actually going to be able to use the full capability of my monitor and have games everywhere. I'm gassed up. I'm at GASO Mass. We got GASO Blue and I Film Hoopers. Make sure you're following us. Get all the content. Now, heading into the playoffs, let's talk storylines. Mike, I'm going to pass this one to you.
Yeah, so we're here now. You've been working your butts off, but the thing about the playoffs is it goes by fast. And it goes by faster for the teams that expect it to go slower, if that makes sense. So a lot of these teams, based off how they've done the regular season, kind of have these aspirations to go pretty deep. But the advice here is just one game at a time, because you never know what can happen in one situation. So that's just my thing, game-by-game mentality, because a lot of these districts, and I'll talk about in a little bit, are pretty battle-tested. So it doesn't matter if you're a 1 seed playing a 4, a 2 playing a 3. Focus on what's in front of you. And this is a time of year when physicality and toughness really matters. So those 50-50 balls, it'll behoove you to jump on the floor and get to those very early in your playoff games to set those tones.
Yeah, and what do you call them, Mike? Thorns, the 4 seeds.
Yeah, the thorn.
Are like a little more battle tested than you might think.
Yeah, those second, third, and fourth place teams that might not have the sexiest records are those thorns that are going to be there when it matters and be in any game all season long. So,
yeah, and I'll piggyback off your point here. When I was coaching, we looked at the season in phases. Phase 1 was non-district. Phase 2 is district. Now, if you're lucky enough to get to phase 3, just know that anything can happen. Like the rankings, throw them out the window.
Yep.
One bad shooting night ends your run. Period, end of story. And that's what, to Michael's point, get on those 50-50 balls. Every possession matters. Taking care of the ball. We would always talk about the recipes for success. Have less turnovers than the other team. Have more rebounds than the other team. And that's going to create enough extra possessions even if we have an off shooting night. So just take it take it by its horns. Don't take anything for granted because it's one game and you're done, or one game and you're moving on.
And I have a feeling that we're going to see, I'm going to be quote tweeting wow on a lot of final game scores here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, sorry about the careless whispers that started playing in the background. I went to Max Preps to try pull. I'm not in my office, obviously, and so I'm using my wife's, and I usually have Max Preps muted for that very reason. But, my storyline here is we have San Antonio Vets Memorial ranked number 1, but Lancaster probably is kind of the team that has the big target on their back of probably making it to state and maybe even winning it there. So how prepared are they? Well, I think they're very prepared with the athletes and everybody that they have, but they went through a district going 12-0. So being undefeated and winning most games on average by about 40 plus. I would like to see where that's going to translate. This isn't the first time that they've done this and that they've had to go into a playoff without a lot of big preparation throughout district. But they're built for this. And they're going to be built for whoever's going to be facing them in the upcoming weeks and throughout the tournament. So my storyline is, it's Lancaster's time to shine. Are they going to be able, how deep are they going to go? Are they going to make it to state as we think that we've had them projected?
Love it. Mike?
Yeah, another thing, just to follow up what we were talking about earlier, those thorns, pay attention to those battle-tested districts. And there was big fights to the finish in district. But the team I wanted to spotlight for my big example is CE King, that won their last 3 district games to get 4th in that gauntlet of a 21-6A district. So you're looking at them as a 4th-place team that won 3 high-quality district games. Like, as the 1 seed, and I haven't seen the brackets yet, but that's not a 4 seed that you really want to see at this point. No. And there's more examples than that across the state where, regardless of what your record is, if you got in and you're playing your best basketball, you're going to be a force to reckon with, and you should go into these games confident. And CE King's one of those teams that is like, all right, they're rolling right now. So,
Blue, you mentioned Plano East. Can they run the table? And I was going to mention them kind of in the record breakers because they were undefeated, and that's an incredible feat in the middle of Dallas, Texas, at the 6A level. And I just want you to expand on them. Can they run the table? Can their balance be the difference maker? Because a lot of people point to that as the reason that they won't.
Yeah, and I have a little confession here to make. Was that I was texting Matt Wester this morning, and I said he might have seen this, but if he didn't, here you go, Matt. Before I edited, I said, regular season undefeated in district. Who cares? It's all about state, right? Well, maybe that was a little insensitive about me because that's a great feat to have, to go with this 33-0. Is that what they finished? Yeah, they finished 33-0, 14-0 in district. This is really where that team's going to find out what they're made of, though, having to go for the next several weeks and their ultimate goal. I wasn't trying to be insensitive that it doesn't matter, but this is their ultimate goal right here. Because even if they came in second in that district, or they had a little bit of a hiccup, which they didn't, they would still be gunning for a state championship that Matt Wester brought to our attention 4 years ago, how good that his team was going to be.
Yeah, and so you can see it every time they step on the floor. They expect to win, and I like betting on balance. They've got studs. They got a different guy who can go off every night, and then their defense is really the star. That's the thing that can carry them through lulls or, people always talk about, well, who's going to get the bucket down the stretch? Well, I'm going to look at it on the other side and say, who's going to score the bucket against them to get it done? And that's a really challenging task. Now, there are teams with that pedigree that can play with Plano East. There ain't no doubt about it. But I am so interested in following this run in what feels to be a wide open. I think there's a few teams who can get it done.
Yeah, I agree.
For the record breakers, y'all have me acting like an auctioneer every week.
Yep, do your thing.
Thank you for telling me. So I'm going to roll through the 1,000-point scorers. Cameron Carroll, SGP. Jared Robbins, Round Rock McNeil. Dominic Samuel, Aldine Nimitz. Devon Turner, Rockwall. Kevion Johnson, North Forney. Chris Ramirez, Dallas Skyline. BJ Davis, Duncanville. Brendan Himes, El Paso Chapin. Jarrett Goodry, Clear Lake. Ben Saldivar, Odessa Permian. DeAndre Charlotte. Barbers Hill. I'll get a little French, Charlot. 2,000-point club, Anthon McDermott, Hallsville, and the elusive 2,500-point club, Donnie Thomas, Bishop. That's a 2024 who's worth seeing. Other records, Jamarian Harper for Crowley goes off for 48 points in their finale. Trey Brown for Saxe set the single-season scoring record. James Livingston hit 200 assists. Birdville, 16 straight playoff appearances, clinched last night in a must-win. Tristan Strength, 201 three-pointers made in Colleyville history. Pasadena, South Houston, most wins in program history with 27. Zach Day, 134 three-pointers made this season, which is, you're playing 30 games. That's over 4 a game. That's ridiculous. And then Seven Lakes, 36 straight district wins. Are you kidding me? And then coach records, Coach Brandenburg, Flower Bluff, he gets it done with 200 wins. Jason Pillion, Amarillo, 400 wins. And Jack Bowles at Hook with 600 wins.
Wow.
Congratulations to all the record breakers. Y'all are impressive. Now, to a conversation that everyone seems to want to take part in, 2026 rankings. They're dropping next week, as we mentioned earlier. So let's give a little bit of a sneak preview. Pick one player that you are higher on than the rest of the group. And it's just kind of like your guy, and it might naturally happen, but we all kind of picked all over the board. And Timmons, I'm going to pass it to you for this one.
Yeah, mine is Ja'Cory Jones of Denton Braswell. The speed, the skills there, as he continues to get older and develop more, the IQ from the point guard position are going to show up. But I just trust, we're talking about pedigree. Yeah. I've seen him in gyms with his older brother, RJ Jones, at Kansas State, where he's out shooting him. I think he's shooting over 40% from 3 this year.
He is.
It's a blur in transition, and the sky's the limit for him. Just one of my favorite up-and-coming guards in this area, and there's just so much more room for him to grow, but I'm very happy where his game's at this point, and the jump he's made this season. So I'm trusting that. And you jabronis don't know what you're looking at. So
that's GASO extra stuff. We don't say that on the GASOcast.
True.
I'm gonna hop in here. Josh Goodwin, Cy Ranch. Love this kid. Long, rangy playmaker. He has got another compadre on his team, Andrew Williford, who's really good. But Josh, I see it. There's not a lot of weakness in his game, and I love kids that have athleticism, that have length, that have skill, and they don't have a glaring weakness. Josh can play on or off the ball and make plays for others, and he's a really talented finisher. I've seen him twice this season, and I want to continue to get more familiar with his game, but I'm a fan right now. I'm a big fan.
I'll close this out with Jackson Thompson from Green Hill. He's fresh in my mind. I just saw him just last week at the SBC championships, and a guy that can just go out and get it whenever he wants. He can get inside and pass that, get by that defender, raise up, hit short range jumper, hit the three, get to the cup. He's out there defending. He's just a high flyer, and I was just a little bit higher on him, just probably because he's also fresh in my mind, and I just like. The trajectory on him is continues to go up, and I saw what y'all have seen a lot of over the past year or year and a half, and just sitting there and watching him in a high level game against Houston Christian, that really caught my eye. I was like, man, this kid, he's got a lot more to him.
Yeah, he's a player. He is definitely a player. Hey, thanks for watching this episode. Thank you for watching this episode of the GASOcast. We will see you next time.